Before my homily begins properly, I want to make you a promise. As ADHD and rambling as this is about to seem, I know exactly where I'm going, and I think the payoff at the end will be worth it. So please stick with me. I'm going to try to make this journey worth your while. Just this last week, there was a very particular reason I was reminded of the famous Swiss folk hero, William Tell. I say he's famous, except all I knew about him was the fact that there's an overture, I think, that was written from, I think, the beginning of a play about him, and the fact that he shot an apple off his son's head. That's all I knew about him. I'm willing to bet money that's all most of you knew about him, too. So I did some research on the guy, and we don't know if he was actually real or if he's kind of the Swiss Paul Bunyan. But William Tell, according to the earliest telling of the story, in the early 1300s, was a Swiss revolutionary who opposed all oppression of the Swiss people. That he fought somewhat aggressively and became a powerful image for Swiss independence for the whole rest of the existence of Switzerland, and lived in a time when the Holy Roman Empire, when Austria had claimed a significant swath of Switzerland as their own. And to signify the rule of the Habsburgs, the Holy Roman Empire, their puppet government had come into place and put a hat, an Austrian hat, on a large stick in the town square. And they said that all of the Swiss people, every time they walk through town, must bow their heads to this hat when they walk by as a sign of their allegiance to the Habsburgs. And that if they did that, that would be considered enough, and that was consent, and they would allow them to continue their own way. William Tell came to town with his son and thought this was profoundly stupid and did not do it. He was seen by the Habsburg overseer, and the man decided to make an image of him. He decided to make him an example, and so he told William Tell and his son that the penalty for not pledging their fealty to the Holy Roman Empire was death, that both of them would be killed. But he had heard tell that William Tell was one of the best huntsmen in the area, that the man had an inhuman aim, and he was mildly curious to see how true the rumors were. And so he made a game of it, and he had William Tell paced out 120 yards from his son and had an apple placed on his son's head. And William Tell was told by the overseer that if you can shoot this apple off your son's head in one try, I will let you both go free and I will not kill you. But if you miss, then your son's life will be on your hands and not on mine. William Tell pulled a bolt out of his quiver, aimed his crossbow, and neatly split the apple in half. His son was obviously relieved. The governor, impressed, told William Tell that he would keep his word and he would not kill either of them. And the ending of the story varies dramatically as time goes on over the centuries. But the original ending, and the shortest, is the one that I enjoy the most, is that the Habsburg puppet leader looks at William Tell and says, "I noticed you pulled out not one but two bolts for your crossbow. What was the second one for?" And William Tell simply told him, the second one was for you if the first one hit my son." I was reminded of the story of William Tell this week from a 3-minute video I saw somebody share out of all places from one of the Hobbit movies. And I'll concede, I saw all of the Lord of the Rings movies multiple times. I did not watch any of the Hobbit movies. There are like 7 of them now. They split the book up into like 10-page increments per movie. It was too much. But there was this fantastic scene in the movie, absolutely glorious, where the dragon, the big bad guy, Smaug, who is just a fearsome beast with impenetrable scales, an unbeatable adversary, has absolutely razed a city to the ground. It's all burning embers at this point. And this one man chooses to still stand against the dragon. And he climbs the tallest tower still standing in the city, and he takes his bow with him and leaves his son down below. And he knocks an arrow and shoots it at the dragon, and it bounces harmlessly off the dragon's scales. Nothing can hurt the beast. And the dragon is so offended by the fact that someone would dare even try to hurt it that it lands and begins taunting him rather than just kill him outright. That it can't even comprehend that someone would stand against it. And it comes over and in frustration makes a dive at the tower, destroying a significant portion of it, injuring the man whose name is Bard, this bowman, injuring him, damaging his bow, and knocking the rest of his arrows downstairs off the tower. And the man's son at this point climbs up the tower with one of the arrows and hands it to his dad, and sees his dad trying to turn the rubble of the top of the tower into a makeshift bow so he could aim this last arrow at the dragon. That in spite of the insurmountable odds, he is still going to take aim with this last arrow that he has. And his son realizes in the scene very quickly that his dad can't do that with the remaining structure. There's nothing on which he can brace his arrow. Like, he has the bowstring and it's taut, but there is no place where the arrow will go. So the son stands in front of his dad and he lets him use his shoulder as the nock, as the brace for the bow, the bow's arrow. The dragon charges at them, and the dad doesn't shoot because he has just one arrow left. And the dragon continues to charge and is practically at the tower, and the dad doesn't shoot because there's one arrow left. And finally, he knows that there's one scale missing from the dragon, like the size of a human hand. And if he can hit that one spot, he has a chance to kill the thing. And his son, obviously, because he's turned with his back to the dragon, is terrified because he can hear the mockery, he can hear the charging and the burning of buildings, and he can't see anything. And so he turns to look at the dragon and starts freaking out, and the dad looks at him and says, "No, you look at me." And he aims and he waits and he waits and he takes the shot and kills this dragon. This undefeatable enemy is taken down by a dad and his son in one arrow and a heck of a lot of courage when no one else would stand up to him. So what do these two stories have to do with each other, and what do they have to do at all with Lazarus? In both instances, put yourself in the shoes of the sons. What would have been going through your head and your heart while you were standing there waiting for your dad to shoot that crossbow or that longbow? Would you have had enough confidence in your father's aim to stand there proudly, to spit at the foot of the Habsburg puppet and say, "Yeah, my dad's got this"? Or would you have been panicking? Would you have had the courage to keep your eyes on your father rather than turn around and look at the dragon literally charging at you from behind? Or would you have fainted? God has this terrible knack for doing something that he enjoys immensely, and that I can't speak for the whole human race, but that at least I personally hate. I just said that as a priest. That God often likes to leave things to the last possible second. That God often likes to let the stakes pile so high that we look at the circumstances in the world and we say, how could the good guys possibly win? Like, how can good possibly ever triumph over evil here? I don't see a way out of this. And then God turns things around and wins like that. In the story of Lazarus, every single time this passage is read, there's something from it that strikes my heart. That Jesus, in the beginning, we're told, was informed of Lazarus' illness. And then we're told this. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was ill, he remained for 2 days in the place where he was. Now Jesus loved them very much, and so he putzed around for 2 days at home and didn't do a single thing to help Lazarus. Got it. Okay, that makes sense, John. Thank you. In the Jewish tradition, there was not absolute certainty when the human soul left the body at death, just as there's no real certainty about it now. When is the point at which somebody can no longer be resuscitated? At what point is somebody too far gone to possibly come back? Where is that point when somebody merely appears to be dead and is actually dead? The Jewish people they traditionally held that point for sure was the 3-day mark. That by the 3rd day, the soul left the body and went to God. That before 3 days, somebody maybe could come back. That maybe they were just knocked really unconscious. But after 3 days, only God himself could fix this. Up till 3 days, it was a medical problem. After 3 days, it was a theological one. Jesus intentionally waits, we're told by John, until 4 days have passed before he goes to Bethany to visit Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. That Jesus waits until this is no longer a medical issue and it has become a theological one. He waits until they cannot possibly say that Lazarus was medically resuscitated, until only God could do what was about to happen. We even hear this when the crowd murmurs about Jesus, because they knew Jesus was a healer, that Jesus worked great miracles up to this point in the Gospel of John. And they say, could not this man who had worked great miracles also have done something to prevent this man from dying? Yes, in fact, he could have. That's why he waited 2 more days, so that he couldn't anymore. So that no mere healer or prophet could save Lazarus, so that only God could do it. And then Jesus shows up and he says, roll the rock away. And recognizing that Lazarus is not merely out, Lazarus is gone. His sister looks at Jesus and says, Lord, there will be a stench. Lazarus is not merely dead, he's decomposing. And Jesus says, roll the rock away. Lazarus, come out. That Jesus does what was impossible for anyone but God to do. He waits until the stakes are so high that only God can fix the situation. He waits until things are so dire that no mortal can win the battle, and then he comes in and brings the victory, so that nobody can claim that the glory is due to anyone other than God. In the story of Martha and Mary and Lazarus, Martha and Mary have to be the son of William Tell and the son of Bard the Bowman. Jesus asks them, do you believe that he will rise? And they say, yes, we believe in the resurrection at the last day. He says, no, that's me. I'm the guy. I'm the resurrection. Do you believe in me? And then Jesus shows them what he can do. Jesus is asking them, don't look at the dragon, look at me. Do you believe that I can do this? Do I have good enough aim and a strong enough arm to make this shot or not? And Jesus draws finally out of Martha a profound profession of belief. And so too does this eventually lead to the belief of many, which is what finally leads the Pharisees to conspire to kill him. Because Jesus now is no longer a prophet in their eyes. Jesus is the Messiah and he's Almighty God. He's crossed a line that he can't come back from. And Jesus has to be put to death now. In our lives, every single one of us will run into situations where you and I are Martha and Mary, where you and I are William Tell's son and Bard the bowman's son. And God is going to ask us, do you have enough faith in my aim? Is my arm strong enough to make this shot? And he's going to ask us, stop looking at the fire and the dragon. Just look at me. You look at me. Because at the end of the day, when we find ourselves in trial and tribulation, it's under siege, surrounded by fire, in danger of death, so often that's precisely where God wants us to be. And it's infuriating and I hate it, and yet it is the way that he works. One of the reasons he does that is because it gives him the opportunity to show us exactly how much he loves us and how powerful he is to save us. There are probably 8,000 other reasons he does it, but those are two. That's why he does it here. Many times that's why he does it for you too. And so today Jesus asks you that same question that he implicitly asked Martha and Mary that was explicitly asked of the sons. Do you believe in the arm of your Father or not? Are you willing to keep your eyes on him rather than stay focused on the dragon?